Hey, I don't know what high school was like for you, but it was a really tough time for me. I wasn't good at girls, I wasn't good at school, I wasn't good at sports. I had this GPA you could count up on 2 fingers. And for a lot of us, we think it's gonna end at high school, and when it doesn't, we're thinking like, oh no. There was a guy that showed up at my high school. His name was Randy, and he had a motorcycle and a beard and a girlfriend. I kind of hated him because I wanted a motorcycle and a beard and a girlfriend. And he was with this outfit called Young Life, and their idea is to reach out to high school kids and let them know about Jesus. And I kept him at bay, right, because that wasn't my thing. But he showed up at all my stuff, and he really wanted to be my friend. And I really thought that was kind of neat. Well, school wasn't going that great, so there's this test you can take. It's called the GED. You get this diploma without even graduating from high school. The problem was I couldn't figure out how to sign up for it, which was an indicator, right? So I showed up on Randy's doorstep on a Sunday morning because I decided I'm out of there. I'm not going to go to high school anymore. And I knocked on the door, and after a long couple minutes, Randy shows up. And I said, man, thanks for being a great friend. I really appreciate it. I'm going to move to Yosemite and climb rocks, you know, because like with a body like this, who would want to climb rocks? And he looked at me kind of puzzled, and he said, oh, Bob, when are you going to go? And I said, well, now. And I pointed over to my Volkswagen, and he said, hang on a second. He disappeared for a long couple of minutes, and I had all the time in the world, right? I wasn't in high school anymore. And when he came back, he had a backpack over one arm and a sleeping bag under the other. And he said, I'm with you. I said, well, you're going to go with me right now. And he did. He just threw his stuff on top of my stuff, and we jumped in the Volkswagen, and we split. So I just quit high school, just like that. I was out. Randy and I went to Yosemite. We got to this beautiful place and started climbing rocks right away. The adventure was on. And I love that he was just with me. Aren't adventures a lot better when you're just doing with something? Somehow it makes quitting stuff not as scary when you're with somebody, right? And there's something that happens too. There's something really beautiful when we quit things once in a while. Do you ever feel like your life is just so filled with things that you can't even move it around? I think they make TV shows about some of us. It's called hoarders, right? We get so much stuff in our life we can't even navigate through our living rooms anymore. And I think Jesus just throughout Scripture has people quitting stuff and finding stuff and quitting stuff. And so you know one thing that I do? Every single Thursday, I quit something. Even today, every single Thursday. And there's something beautiful that happens. It makes room in my life for like Jesus to just suck beautiful things in. I can start navigating towards Him again. I don't have all these fixed points, but you got to pick the right stuff to quit, don't you? You don't want to quit things that are beautiful and good for you, but there's some stuff like half of you guys are afraid you're going to lose your job. The other half of you are afraid you're going to keep it. What if we quit stuff? You know, we don't even know what day of the week it was when Jesus came by the disciples and said, quit what you're doing, drop your nets and follow me. But I bet it was on a Thursday. I don't even know when in Exodus Moses says, we're out of here. But I'm just hoping that was on a Thursday too. It's okay to quit stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Just quit the right stuff. That's the trick. And when I left for Yosemite, I'd felt like I'd quit the right stuff. And you know what? Sometimes we get it wrong. And that's the beautiful part about God with us, Emmanuel, right? He says like, even when we quit the wrong stuff, He'll never quit us. He's with us over and over again. We quit the wrong things. We just need to not quit Him. We just need to quit thinking that if we make a mistake, if we go through this door, somehow we've deviated from His plan. You know what His plan is? Him. Just keep loving Him. And we're never, if we don't quit doing that, we're good. So we got to Yosemite Valley and we started applying for jobs, right? And I couldn't get a job anywhere. I went to this outfitting store. They hooked people up with backpacks and sleeping bags and all that. And I applied and they said, like, do you have a high school diploma? I said, well, not really. I went to a place and applied where they make pancakes. I mean, like, who couldn't make pancakes for a living? And I got aced out there too. It was like, these doors were being closed, but at the same time, what's this about open doors and closed doors? I mean, doors are supposed to work that way. Some are closed, some are open, and the ones that are closed sometimes are meant to be open. The question I've been asking, is that door locked? And what I realized with Randy? A lot of these doors were locked. It was kind of a bummer. It was a bummer to see a dream die. Has that happened to you where you had something you were really angling for? You were so looking forward to it, and it's just dying. And I feel like when a dream dies, they shouldn't die alone. There's something beautiful about Randy and what he continued to say in Yosemite Valley. And it was these 3 words, I'm just with you. Well, Randy didn't give me a bunch of teachable moments. He didn't talk to me and say what a screw up I was or tell me next time how I should fix it. There's something beautiful when you're with people, they just know that. That's what's beautiful about just holding one another close. And Randy held me closer than a brother because he knew that I was a guy who needed to be held close. Who's somebody in your life? Who's somebody that you need to be with? You need to be holding them close. Well, we decided we would leave. And Randy, again, didn't say much on the drive home. He didn't wreck it. And we got back to the block that he lived on. And his girlfriend was over visiting, I guess, because her car was parked in the driveway. And we pulled in, and I followed Randy into the house. I kind of felt invited into his whole life. And when I walked inside, there's a bunch of plates over here and a microwave and an austerizer and some wrapping paper. I was thinking, this isn't Christmas, and I didn't think it was his birthday. And then the nickel dropped. On Saturday, Randy had gotten married. And on Sunday, I showed up on his door. And he didn't see me as a distraction. He saw me as a kid who was about to jump the track and who needed somebody to be with him. I love that of all the names that Jesus could have come up for himself, he used the word Emmanuel, right? God with us. Who could we be Emmanuel to? Who has God dropped onto your porch? And you just have that moment where you got to decide, are they a distraction to me or are they what I'm all about? Who could we be a Randy to? And who is it that's been a great Randy to you? Will you call them up and say, will you send them a text message right now and say, thanks for being with me? Or somebody that needs a Randy, a you in their life, send them a message and say, I'm with you. What I realized about Randy is that he'd been with me. He hadn't just been with me there to correct me or with me by having some Bible study. He was just actually with me. And I learned a lot about Jesus from Randy. Because when Jesus said he was Emmanuel, he said, I'm with you. And that love isn't just something that is a bunch of rules or it's making all the right moves. Love does.